What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, former WBA welterweight world champion, Cuban star boxer, YORDENIS UGAS, who is now 27 wins, 5 losses, no draws, 12 wins by way of knockout. He himself now has been stopped or knocked out in his career. He's 35 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 69-inch arm reach that has been updated to about a 73-inch arm reach. He took on undefeated, now newly crowned 3-belt unified welterweight world champion superstar boxer who is widely considered by many to be top 3 best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, in ERROL SPENCE Jr., who is now 28 wins, no loss and no draw, 22 big wins by way of knockout. He is 32 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach. With that said, YORDENIS UGAS was coming off of a big upset victory over legendary 8th division world champion, iconic Filipino superstar boxer Manny Pacman Pacquiao, August 21st of 2021. With that said, he went into a massive unification bout April 16th, Arlington, Texas, AT&T Dallas Cowboys Stadium against Errol Spence Jr., in which he suffered a 10th round stoppage loss. But not just a 10th round stoppage loss. YORDENIS UGAS, he suffered broken ribs, broken nose, and more importantly, a broken orbital bone, around his right eye. And so many fans, after the fight, because they have a lot of disdain towards Errol Spence Jr., was discrediting the performance by YORDENIS UGAS, and many people and many fans stated that they believed YORDENIS UGAS didn't give it his all, that he essentially purposely stood in front of Errol Spence, didn't let his hands go, and essentially they say he took a dive, allegedly. And so YORDENIS UGAS, who suffered some major injuries, his future is in doubt because he just recently was able to open his eye. And this is, now you're talking, that happened last Saturday. This is Sunday, a week later. And today is the first day he can actually open his eyes, and see out of it. And so with that said, the first thing YORDENIS UGAS did was respond to all of the people that was claiming that he was not giving it his all, that he didn't come to win. He came to lay down, to set up the massive mega showdown that the boxing world and the fans and the pundits want to see between Errol Spence Jr. and his biggest rival, somebody who is has a history with YORDENIS UGAS as well, an undefeated 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the reigning WBO welterweight world champion, who is widely considered by many to be the #1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and Terrence Bud Crawford. Terrence Crawford is 38 wins, no loss and no draw, 29 big wins by way of knockout. He is 34 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. YORDENIS UGAS, he beat Terrence Crawford twice in the amateurs, So he has a history with Terrence Crawford. So with that stated, YORDENIS UGAS is getting a lot of unwarranted feedback for his performance against Errol Spence. And fans were also claiming when YORDENIS UGAS let his hands go, he was having success against Errol Spence Jr., he was much better against the Pacquiao fight and the Sean Porter fight that he had in 2019, March of 2019, against former 2-time welterweight world champion superstar boxer Showtime Sean Porter, which many people thought that YORDENIS UGAS won the fight, but he just didn't get the nod. So YORDENIS UGAS, he finally responds now that he could take to social media, and this is what he had to say, quote, I have blocked many people these days. If you are a fan and you tell me, UGAS, I'm over you, you're not on that level, I say, okay, thanks, no problem. But if you come here and you make fun of me, discredit me, and make me understand that you don't like me, then I'll block you and save you stress to read me and don't watch me, end quote. So YORDENIS UGAS, he stated that he had to cut a lot of people off. He had to block a lot of so-called fans that he thought was his fans, And this is what I was stating leading up into this fight, that suddenly there was a lot of influx of YORDENIS UGAS fans that came out of nowhere and started to root for YORDENIS UGAS. And I explained to many people, they are not fans of YORDENIS UGAS. They are there simply because they want to see Errol Spence lose. They are detractors of Errol Spence. They're not fans of Yordenis Ugas. They're not fans of the sport of boxing. They're not even fans of Terrence Crawford. The biggest fight in the sport of boxing is Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence. And a lot of fans have so much disdain towards Errol Spence that they're rooting for Terrence Crawford just to see Errol Spence lose, because they believe that he is the person that can upset Errol Spence Jr., okay? It's just like I told you guys, there was suddenly a lot of fans and a lot of people that was coming to my chat, coming to the live streams and saying that Yordenis Ugas was going to beat Errol Spence. He was going to stop Errol Spence. Errol Spence is not the same guy. Errol Spence can't box with Yordenis Ugas, right? Suddenly there was a lot of people that were picking Yordenis Ugas to win this fight. And I stated that this was an influx of fans that just simply didn't like Errol Spence Jr., not that they were fans of Yordenis Ugas. And so Yordenis Ugas, he reiterates what I told you guys by him letting you know I had to block many people these days, okay? If you're a fan and you tell me, Ugas, I'm over you, you're not on that level, meaning that you can't compete with Errol Spence or the upper echelon in the welterweight division, he said, I'm okay with that and thanks. But if you come and you make fun of me, discredit me, okay? Like I told you, many people, I explained to you, after Errol Spence was to beat Yordenis Ugas, there was going to be a lot of people who were going to come and discredit Yordenis Ugas suddenly and tell you how Yordenis Ugas was overrated. He wasn't that good. He got lucky against an old Manny Pacquiao. These are the same fans that praised Yordenis Ugas for beating Manny Pacquiao, okay? Although Manny Pacquiao was 40 years of age, that be true. Although Manny Pacquiao was on a 2-year layoff, that would be true, okay? But Yordenis Ugas' style, the boxing style, the counterpunch style with his size, his range, his ring IQ, is always historically given Manny Pacquiao problems. So I'm not shocked to see Manny Pacquiao lose. It was just a shock to see Manny Pacquiao not have a little more success or a lot more success than he normally has. Okay, Yordenis Ugas nullified Manny Pacquiao. So with that said, okay, many fans, they took that and they stated, well, see, Yordenis Ugas is going to beat Errol Spence Jr. He can beat Errol Spence Jr., okay? Now, suddenly, that tide has turned, and now the fans are telling you that Yordenis Ugas was overrated when Errol Spence beat him. I told you guys that Errol Spence was going to be discredited, and the way to discredit Errol Spence is going to be to downplay Yordenis Ugas, who he is as a boxer, and his accomplishments. This is exactly what I told you what was going to take place. They're not going to just give Errol Spence credit. They have to discredit Yordenis Ugas to downplay Errol Spence's accomplishments as well. Okay, so Yordenis Ugas is telling you, he says that if you just say that I'm not on his level or on that level, I'm okay with that, and thanks if you say I'm done with Yordenis Ugas. But if you come make fun of me, quote, and you discredit me, okay, meaning that they're saying he's not qualified to compete against Errol Spence, okay? And make me understand that you don't like me. Then I'll block you and save you the stress to read me and watch me, okay? So as I told you guys, this sudden influx of Yordenis Ugas fans were not Yordenis Ugas fans. They are Errol Spence detractors. They're not fans of the sport of boxing. They're here to cause confusion, okay? They don't like the fact that Errol Spence gets a lot of praise. A lot of, people view Errol Spence as, the next best thing in the sport of, one of the next biggest things in the sport of boxing. They're not fans of that, okay? Point blank and period. And because of that, right, they want to see Errol Spence lose by any means, okay? Which means that even if Errol Spence was to lose to Ugas, they will be cheering to the heavens. They're not going to say Errol Spence wasn't that good. They're going to say, Errol Spence was overrated. Okay, they're going to tell you that Yordenis Ugas was just a better pure boxer, right? So many different things they're going to tell you to discredit Errol Spence, okay, and pretend that they're Yordenis Ugas fans. It's similar to the situation that took place with Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. Many fans was choosing to root for Manny Pacquiao simply because they thought he was the man to dethrone Floyd Mayweather and finally put an L in the second column, that lost column, but it never happened. And as soon as Manny Pacquiao lost to Floyd Mayweather, his fanfare dropped significantly, okay? And the same thing with YORDENIS UGAS. And should Terrence Crawford fight Errol Spence and lose, the same thing is going to happen for all of these so-called Terrence Crawford fans suddenly, okay? They're not going to be around. Or they're going to say, well, Terrence Crawford didn't fight nobody. Terrence Crawford was too little. This is what's going to happen simply because they're not fans of Terrence Crawford. Now, Terrence Crawford does have a bigger fan base and a solid fan base than YORDENIS UGAS. But it's more people more interested. Floyd Mayweather made a living off of this. He became the mega massive superstar you see because he understood that more people was paying to come to see him lose than to see him win. And this is the similar situation with Errol Spence. It's unfortunate. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. As YORDENIS UGAS said, one more thing. He stated that I felt the change in the 7th round, but when you actually watch the fight, in the 4th and 5th round, you could start to see swelling starting to develop on that right eye. But he says in the 7th round, he heard a snap, he heard a pop, and he fought 3 more rounds. He didn't get stopped until the 10th round. So he kept pushing through. So how dare fans tell him that he came to lay down? But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.